After a traumatic pregnancy and emergency C-section, my ML demanded updates, criticized me for taking time to heal, and even pressured me to return to work just days after childbirth. Now, 2 months postpartum, I'm struggling with feelings of guilt for going no contact while worrying about future visits, dreading inevitable boundary issues. After having a very traumatic pregnancy and birth, my 29F, BF, 28M, mother and grandmother ruined my 7-day hospital stay, and I can't get over it. For reference, I've only met both of these women twice. They live in a different state. The first time we met was on a week-long vacation that grandmother invited us on spring of 2024 when I had first found out I was pregnant. The second time was in October, a month before I gave birth, a month early. BF and grandmother have always talked often, but contact with his mom was not frequent until I got pretty far along in my pregnancy. A couple weeks before I gave birth, I was in and out of the hospital. BF gave his mom my number, and the one time we spoke she suggested that we come stay with her and that I have the baby there. I also have a 4-year-old from a previous relationship who I was staying home with and was seeing her father every other weekend. Fast forward to giving birth. I go to the hospital because I hadn't been able to keep any food/liquids down for over a week at this point, so I get admitted, and eventually they decide it's time for an emergency C-section. I had gestational diabetes, placenta previa, and find out afterwards that I also had severe preeclampsia and swelling from the waist down and acute kidney injury. Things are a little fuzzy for me around this time because everything started to happen very quickly. But here's a list. BF really wanted the name / middle name to be Maple. I did not, but I compromised on using it as the middle name. His mother kept saying my Maple and other variations of this so many times that BF got so upset that he didn't even want to use it anymore. We changed the middle name to Lou Jane, and when telling his mother and grandmother, they both seemed upset and annoyed that we changed our minds. The whole week that we were in the hospital after I gave birth, they would not stop calling multiple times a day, every single day. Because of how poor my health was, my recovery was very hard. My BF was doing a lot of the care for our new baby and myself. At one point, baby is screaming and crying as they do, and both his mom and grandma are continuously calling back to back. He's getting flustered and upset. This is his first time caring for a newborn. He's never done this before, and I'm not really able to help. He answers the phone and his mom can hear the baby crying, and instead of acknowledging that he's busy and is clearly getting overwhelmed, still tries to have a full-blown conversation with him as he's desperately trying to end the phone call. Then he calls his grandma back after I take the baby to breastfeed, and she's upset with him, literally says to him that she's upset with him for ignoring her and had a shitty attitude for their entire conversation. 2-3 days into my stay, he's on the phone with his grandma and she asks how I'm doing. BF tells her I just started getting out of bed and walking and that I'm having trouble recovering. To which she responds that he shouldn't be coddling me. And then goes on to ask when the person who isn't even a week out from having major surgery and is having difficulties with recovery of complications, barely 1 full week postpartum, wants to know when I am going to go back to work. BF and I had talked about this and decided that I would be staying home with the kids for the foreseeable future. But I'm still struggling to see, for one, why she thought that was an appropriate time to ask that, and 2, why it was any of her business. BF and I had a long talk about her comments after, and also about how frequent both his mother and grandmother's calls were, and he spoke to both of them the next day. BF mother is constantly asking for pictures. For Christmas, she bought herself and grandmother a digital picture frame specifically for BF to upload pictures of our daughter. With any other family member, I don't think that this would bother me as much, but her obsessiveness just makes me not want to send her pics at all. She's constantly saying my baby, my insert strange pet name. The random weird nicknames also just piss me TF off. Like, I don't even know where she comes up with them. Now that I am 2 empty chest postpartum, things have calmed down considerably. But I cannot get over how inconsiderate they both were when I was trying to recover and my BF, and I should have been bonding with our new baby and instead making everything about them. The first month, both of them kept trying to call me, but not only was I exhausted and trying to take care of a newborn, but I also just did not want to talk to them, and they finally took the hint. And this is where I sort of feel bad. Not for them, but for my BF. He really has done so much for me through my pregnancy and postpartum. His mom and grandma have expressed to him that they feel like we don't want to talk to them, finally something they're right about. I guess I just feel bad for putting him in this position. I have basically gone NC with them and refused to talk to on my own volition. Not to mention they both wanted to come visit last month, which thankfully BF talked them out of, but I am so anxious for when they do eventually visit and how awkward things are going to be. I am not a very confrontational person, and I know that they're both going to overstep and am worried about how they are going to handle me not wanting them to feed her or change her. I have a feeling that they will not take it well. Sometimes I feel like I am overreacting. What do you guys think?